Hello, my name is Mike Cervantes, and I'm your assistant in the class media lab. I've been asked to provide some information on how to begin recording and editing video to assist you in the completion of a multimedia project for your class. I originally recorded this video in summer of 2020 during an administrative downtime. I look a bit different in this video, and some of the information may seem dated, but I still believe it contains some useful information that will begin to help you search for videos, footage, and edit in Adobe Premiere. Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Cervantes. I usually work as a media lab assistant at the communication department of the University of Colorado, Denver, but I've been sent home, like a lot of people, and now that we're headed into the summer session, I can't be in the lab to assist people with their media projects. So, I decided to make this video to cover a little bit about the basics, so you'll have enough information on hand to work on any video projects you would like to try to complete over the summer. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that most people worry about when it comes to making a video project is, what do you use to film? I've been working in media for quite a few years now, and in the old days, there used to be a very straightforward answer to that question. Here's your camcorder. You use that to take videos, and here's your camera. You use that to take photos. But we're in the digital age now, and just about every single one of these devices is now capable of doing the work of the other. Now, that's to your advantage because it means if you have a gadget, any gadget at all, you can make a very good video with it. But you might want to look at your device's resolutions so that they match up with your software setup. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Meantime, I have to show you a great media device that everybody owns. That's right. It's your good buddy, the smartphone. Even if you don't have a big name smartphone, I guarantee you'll be able to film good high definition pictures using your phone's camera. Although you might want to consider turning it horizontal because that's what your video setup is going to be. Oh, what's that? You want to know how I'm filming this? Well, I'm actually filming this by using my computer's webcam. You've probably gotten familiar with how your webcam works because you've been teleconferencing in Zoom during the downtime. To record this, I'm using a free software called OBS, which is also used to stream video live on websites like Twitch. It's free and it's easy to use, so if you think you might be limited to filming from inside the four walls of your own bedroom, it might be worth a try. So now that you have the device you're going to use to make your video, the next question is, what can I do in order to make sure that I have the best picture? Well, obviously, the first and best tip I can give you is not to hold on to your camera. Because when people hold things up, they shake. And when your picture shakes, it doesn't look very good. So, some people think that if you're a professional cameraman, that kind of thing goes away with practice. It really doesn't. So if you only plan on talking to the camera, I would emphasize once again to just use your webcam. But if you're using your phone or another camera, there's a good chance that you've already bought a small tripod or a selfie stick, something like this. You can get these for a minimum of $20 online, approximately the same size as another human being, shipped directly to you the next day, and you can use that kind of thing to keep your picture steady. Now, here's a scene of me sitting on my patio, which I've been doing a lot since I've been in self-isolation. We have a golden rule in the photography business called the rule of thirds, which basically says that photos look more natural if the subject is standing to either one or another side of the photo instead of the dead center. You might notice that I'm not standing in the dead center right now. It's such an important rule, the rule of thirds, that most modern day cameras and even your cell phone might have this little white grid I'm using already built into its photo options. So once you know the rule of thirds, lining these shots up is a snap. But like my old media teachers used to tell me, once you learn the rules, you can break them. And if you can find another shot that is capable of looking just as good as this shot, you can go ahead and add it in there as well. Now you might be saying right now, Mike, I don't want to set up shots. I want to film out in the field. And to that I say, I admire your courage, but if you're just getting started, I'd strongly advise against it. Your instructors will take your straight up video essays just fine. You don't have to go through the potential risk of filming out in public where other individuals might have an issue with your camera. But you also have to consider the fact that professional film crews have an interviewer and a cameraman. And it's the interviewer's responsibility to stand in front of the camera, while it's the cameraman's responsibility to line up all these shots to look professional. So it's a two-man job when you're doing it professionally. But if you're only by your own, you have to be responsible for both of those things. So if the professionals do it that way, you should try to do it that way. So always take the time to set up your shots, and that's the best way to guarantee that your shots are going to look good. Oh, one more thing. Be sure that your camera is filming at a minimum of 1080p or 1920 by 1080 pixels as your resolution. Most modern cameras and your cell phones have this as their default settings, but please double check just to make sure that your footage is going to look good when you go on to edit your final video. You might also have the option of using a 4K resolution, but that might make the files a bit too large to turn in. Keep things to 1080p for the best quality. So now you have everything on your camcorder or phone or on your computer's files. The next thing you're going to need to do is edit the video. Now there are a tremendous amount of video editing programs out there, but for these next examples, I'm going to be using Adobe Premiere Pro. This is the same video editor that we use in the lab, and there's a good chance that you might have heard some black-hearted things about Adobe out on the internet. But you have to keep in mind that those things are usually said by people who aren't in the college environment. We are. We're University of Colorado in Denver, so we can afford to use the whole Adobe Creative Cloud. The license is usually $20 a month for students, and it's free during this coronavirus downtime until July the 6th. So by all means, download the software and take advantage of the time that you have left to learn to edit like an absolute professional. So here we are in Premiere Pro. I obviously can't show you everything in the program, but I can show you some of the most necessary things that you need to do. First, you have to start a new file and give it a name. We're calling this file Project. Now, there are a lot of windows here, but the first window that you need to pay attention to is the window on the lower left. We're going to use that to insert our files. So I'm just going to grab a file out of my folder of video files and drag and release that into the window. Once Premiere is able to read it, we can drag it again over to the bottom center panel, and that is what creates our timeline. In our timeline, we can navigate across our video. We can stop at specific points using our blue scrub line. We can zoom in and out, and we can look at the two bars which contain our video and the audio track that accompanies it. Now, let's say we need to make a cut. Just like with old films, you sometimes need to chop a scene in order to make it into two scenes or so on. Well, all you need to do is pinpoint the section you would like to cut using the blue scrub bar. Then you can go into your toolbar to the left of the timeline and left click on the razor blade tool. Then line up the razor blade with the scrub bar and click. You can now separate this one scene into two scenes. The next thing you'll need to do is learn how to fade in and fade out. Premiere does lots of transitional special effects, but the old fade in and out is the default effect that you can use. To insert a fade in or a fade out, you're going to need to left click on either the beginning or on the end of the timeline. This creates a red bracket. Then you can right click on the PC or you can option click on the Mac and select Apply Default Transitions from the option menu that drops down. You can see new tabs appear on your timeline if you zoom in, which you can drag to make the film fade in or fade out longer. Finally, here's how we add text. Go back to the toolbar to the left of the timeline and left click on the text tool. Then move the text tool onto the preview screen and left click to add a text cursor. Type in what you want the text to say and then move over to the effects menu to the left of the preview screen to center it, resize it, and change the font. You can also drag the text area in the timeline to determine how long the text is going to remain on the video. Once you feel that your video is done, the next thing you're going to need to do is to create a final render of it. So the very first thing that you would like to do is you would like to take the scrub bar that's part of your timeline and highlight everything that's in the video. Everything that is highlighted will have a white rectangle over it. Then you're going to go over to File and you're going to go over to Export and then Media, left click. Now there are a lot of options as to how you can format your video. The absolute most efficient one is called H.264 that will render your final video as a nice low quality MP4 file, which will be easy to upload onto Canvas later. So once you've selected H.264 in the format menu, then you're going to go over to this section that says output name, and then you're going to give it a new file name. This file name is going to be project again. Click save, and now it's going to, when the final video is rendered, it's going to be called project.mp4. So there are a lot of other options here, but you do not have to mess with them. Just come all the way down here to this button and left click to begin the export process. Now, depending on how large your video is, this could take between 15 minutes all the way up to 2 hours. So be sure that you have lots of extra time before your deadline in order to finish this process. Well, folks, I'm afraid that's all I can teach you in a 15-minute video. I hope it's going to help you, and I hope you're not going to be afraid to consider turning in a video as one of your projects. Like I said, I've been at this for a while, and I've learned that making mistakes is part of the whole media process. I don't mind telling you that I made a lot of mistakes in this video alone. Now, you might be saying right now, Mike, I don't want to set up shop. You also have to consider the fact that professional film crews have in order for them to look professional. Okay. I think I'm just going to start over. I'm going to rewrite this stuff. Now, now you might be saying right now, Mike, I don't want to set up shops, set up shops. Unbelievable. I wrote this stuff, I can't say it. Here's another trade secret for those of you looking into media. If you don't know how to do something, you should Google it. I do it all of the time. There's no shame in looking for resources if you don't know what to do. And by all means, hit me up as well. I'm still your Media Lab assistant. Now that you have this information, I hope you'll continue to explore the possibility of using media in the remainder of your classroom assignments. I would also like to encourage you to join us in the class Media Lab. We are in Student Commons room 3009, Monday and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Tuesday and Thursday from 9 to 4. You can come in at any time to get assistance on your multimedia assignment and borrow camcorders, digital cameras, and microphones. We're online at class.ucdenver.edu/communication. Our email address is comlab@ucdenver.edu, and our phone number is 303 315 1932.